Hello, I'm Rebecca Flaherty and today I'm going to be showing you how to use this trailing floral template to make this pattern here. This particular template is one of a set of 6 which you can find in my Etsy store, but if you want to have a go for free, you can find this template here in my freebie library and follow along with that one. This is a more advanced level tutorial, so if you've never made a pattern using the diamond method before, then I suggest checking out this video first as it covers everything in more detail and at a slower pace. So let's get started with the last template in this collection, which is number 6. We'll bring this into the main gallery, go to import and bring in trailing floral number 6. So we can start by turning on the sketch layer. And this one is probably the most complex out of all the patterns. It's got 3 different flowers to draw on each stem, but also we're going to have 2 different layers of leaves and stems because as you can see, we've got lots of overlapping bits here. So let's get started with this one. On our sketch diamond layer, I'm going to use this stamp here and I'm going to stamp this into each of these flower shapes. So with my select tool, I'm going to turn that to freehand and then I can just, if I've got snapping off, I can put these in and line them up with all these circles. And we want to be filling all of the black circles on this layer. Not the blue ones, just the black circles. And then with these ones here, even though the stems are pink, it's the flowers that we're worrying about and they're black. So we do need to put these on this layer. And again, over here, these black ones also need doing on this sketch layer. So once we've got all our flowers stamped into place, if you're going to follow exactly the same lines for the leaves and the stems as I've marked out, you don't need to sketch those. If you want to change up the positions, then I would recommend sketching those out over the top on this sketch diamond layer and then doing this next part so that you can see where everything is going to lie next to each other. So we're going to duplicate this and turn snapping and magnetics back on. We'll drag it down and over to the left, and I don't know if you can see right at the bottom there, we've got those orange lines intersecting and also in the middle there. That means it's snapped into place properly. I'll move this up so we can see a bit better. Duplicate and drag this up and over to the left. Duplicate the bottom one again and drag it up and over to the right. Duplicate the bottom one again and drag this down and to the right. Always making sure you've got those snapping into place. Then you can pinch to merge the top 4, and I'm going to invert the colour on there so that I know which ones are which. So that's all of the sketch layout done now. You can see all of these motifs in the middle fill these spots around the outside. We can turn our pattern layer on, and as you can see, that's for the black motifs. So anything that's a black dotted line or a flower that's enclosed by a black dotted line is going to be illustrated in this group. So I'm going to turn off the pattern marker and tap on it to add a layer above, and I'm going to start with the stems as always when we're doing these trailing floral templates where you've got a line that goes over the edge and then goes back again over the same edge and effectively it has to join up with itself. It's always best to get the stems in first. So I think I might actually do light coloured stems on this one, and for the background colour I'll make it this light blue. And I think I'm going to work in light stems for this one. So I'm going to start off by doing the main stems. I'm going to start up here, come down, and then do this one. And then we'll be able to follow on from that one to join it up here. So for this template, we're going to start up here and work our way down like that. And that's quite a big line to draw all in one go. But what we can do is we can take a break here because this part of the line is going to be hidden behind this leaf. So I'm actually just going to draw from there down to here, so we can zoom in a little bit more. So make sure you've got the whole of the part you want to work on screen, and then you can just go ahead and trace that in, and then you can stop behind that leaf because this join is going to be hidden by it, and then we can pick up again and then finish just down here. You can draw that line all in one go if you want. It's just that it's easier to draw when you're zoomed in a bit more. The more you're zoomed out, the less smooth this line is going to be. So by being able to draw half of it at once, it gets to be a bit smoother than if you were trying to draw from there all the way to there in one go. So once we've got from there down to there in, we need to duplicate this up here so we can join it up there. So put a mark in each of these corners, duplicate your layer, tap to transform, and we're going to snap it up into this corner up here. And then you'll see we've got that line coming across there, which is the one we drew there, and we can carry that on our bottom layer, this one, and we can join it up there. There we go. And then the next part I'm going to do is this part here. I can get rid of that top layer now, or at least hide it so it's not confusing us. And then the next line that I'm going to do is this one that goes underneath this leaf. This will join in with what's in our extra group, but it will be underneath this leaf, so we don't have to worry about this bit being too perfect. And join it up down here. Then I'm going to draw this one in. And then the only other part that needs to be on this bottom layer of stems is this bit up here. So I'm going to draw these in, and those will be hidden underneath this leaf. But I'm not going to draw this stem here in. So these are the parts that need to be on this bottom layer. So have a good look at those. It's this one that comes across, that one, this one here, that part, and that one there. So now we're going to add a layer above and draw in the rest of the stems. So that we don't get confused, I'm initially going to just draw these in a different colour. So we'll draw these in, let's just use this pink colour. So we're just going to draw in the rest of the stems that are in black now. This one here, you want to make sure you finish it before you get to this leaf. Because the leaf is going to go underneath this pink but on top of the cream, and so if you were to draw this, extend that down there, that would be showing on top of this leaf. So this one here, you need to make sure you finish that before you get to the leaf. And again here, where I've taken this stem too far past, I need to erase that because I don't want this pink going over the edge of the leaf. So now I can make both of these stems the same colour. So I can alpha lock both of these and I can make them both that white colour now. And then in between these two layers is where we're going to put our leaves. Let's choose this yellowy colour for the leaves. So I'm now going to draw in the leaves in between these, and you'll see where I draw this one here, it's just going to be magic and cover those parts there. So we'll just go and draw all the rest in now. The exception to that is this leaf here and this leaf there. Those need to go on a layer underneath this one. If we draw it on this layer, it's going to be drawing over the top. So these two leaves need to go at the very bottom. So let's fill those two in, and then we can go back and do the rest of the leaves on this layer here. And remember, I did say at the beginning this was a more advanced tutorial, so you were warned. So although this one is like harder to work with, the advantage is that you do get a more intricate and complicated pattern with lots of ins and outs and layers on it. So it is worth the extra effort and hard work and concentration because you get a more intricate pattern at the end of it. So that's all of our leaves traced over, apart from this tiny one here. There's always one tiny one somewhere that I forget. So now we can fill all of these in. So that's all of our leaves done. The next thing to do is to illustrate the flowers. So I'm going to do that above the stems, and I'm going to do these little bud bits first, and I'll do those the same colour as the stems. Could have done these on the same layer of the stems, but it's kind of easier to get that curve if you haven't got to draw that bobble at the same time. And I also might change my mind and decide I want it a different colour, so that's why I'm going to do it on a separate layer and draw these freehand rather than colour filling all these tiny bits. That's all of those done. On a layer underneath those now, I'm going to draw in some flower buds. And then on another layer below these, I'm going to put that part in a different colour. which I think I'm going to use this peachy colour. But that is subject to change. No, I'm going to do it in that blue colour. So now we've got these motifs illustrated, we're ready to do the ones in the extra group. So as always, to do that, we're going to swipe down with 3 fingers, tap copy all. We can hide this pattern group now. We can also hide our sketch layer. We can turn our extra group on, tap on the extra marker, swipe down with 3 fingers and paste that in there. Now we can duplicate this layer and snap one part of it over to this edge and snap the other part of it over to that edge. Then we can merge those two together, and then we just need to illustrate these pink parts here. So I'll add a layer and go ahead and draw all those in. With all of these, I'm going to draw them all on one layer apart from the leaf stem for this one, which will go on a layer above. So I'm going to add a layer above, and then we can draw this one in. So I'll add a layer underneath and draw this leaf in first, and then we'll draw all the others on the bottom. So the rest of the leaves we'll draw underneath here. Now that's all of our extra motifs illustrated, and I'm not going to do any shading in this pattern, so we are ready to start merging things and creating the pattern tile now. So I'm going to duplicate this extra group. In this one I'm going to delete these 2 layers at the bottom, and then I'm going to flatten that layer. I'm going to hide my other extra group, and if you don't have enough layers spare to duplicate whole groups, you can just turn the layer you want to copy on, hide the background, swipe down with 3 fingers, copy all, and then swipe down again and paste, and that's going to put a copy of that in there for you. So I'll turn my pattern layer off now and turn the background colour back on, and we need to put this extra part back onto the edges. So as always, to do that we put those little marks in the corners, just like we did when we were transforming the stems around. You can swipe to duplicate, snap this over to the left, and then snap the other one over to the right. Pinch those 2 together. Obviously I did that quite quickly, but I was checking for the snapping lines as I go. You probably want to be a bit more careful than I am. And then we can show both of our layers and make sure we've got things in the right order. You want to have your extra group underneath. If you've got it on top, you're going to have this little edge peeping over your leaf there. So you want to have your extra group underneath for this pattern. So now you can pinch those 2 together to merge them, and we've already got these corner marks in there. So we can duplicate this layer now, drag it up and over to the left. It doesn't ever matter which order you do these in, by the way. Sometimes I drag down into the left, right first, or to the right. There's no right or wrong order to do these in case you were ever wondering that. So we're just duplicating and snapping it into each one of the corners, making sure you've got those orange lines intersecting. And that is our pattern tile nearly done. We just need to make sure that everything is all in the right order. For example, up here, it is not in the right order. So I'm going to erase the markers off the bottom layer first, so we don't forget to do those. And I'll take these ones off the middle, which is, so there's one on this layer, and then there's one on this layer. So all those markers erased. Now we just need to get all of these layers into the right order before we merge them. So for example, here, this middle layer needs to be on top of this one. So we can drag this down to the bottom, and now that leaf is where it should be, covering that gap. And I think actually all of the others are okay. Oh no, there's one here. So that's this layer here. That one also needs to go underneath the main pattern group. So that is all of the layers in the right order now for this pattern. So at this point you can pinch and merge those all together, and that is your pattern tile all done. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I can't wait to see your finished patterns over on Instagram. Tag me at Becky Flaherty so that I can see them. All the links for everything I've used are in the description, and I'm just going to go ahead and build this out into a little preview now for you to see how it's repeating. Have fun, stay creative, and I will see you next time.